Story time with Adira on Brighter Brand TV. In my compound, secrets don't stay hidden for long before it becomes every household dinner topic. That's why Christabel locked the door before checking the text. Two lines, not faint, not confused, clear. Her heart dropped like low battery on a faulty iPhone. God, I beg, not now. The city was a place everybody wants to go, but not everyone has the capacity to. It was the dream of everyone in the village of Okeze. Those whom have gone often came back to tell the stories and made everyone anxious and wanting to go. When Christabel heard about her admission, she was very happy because her uncle promised to take her to the city to further her education if she eventually got the admission. Being the first child to a widowed mother after her dad died 10 years ago, Christabel was the hope of her family, not just because she wanted to make something out of her life, but because she had four younger siblings, two boys and two girls, whom were looking up to her. When her name showed up among the first batch of admitted students, her joy knew no bounds. She quickly called her uncle to tell him the news. Uncle Bimmi, who was her mother's younger brother, has been her family's backbone since her father died. He had sponsored and supported her to finish her secondary school education after the death of her father. He encouraged Crystal to look further in life and get a university degree for a better chance at succeeding in life. On seeing her admission list, her first thought was to call Uncle Bimi. He congratulated her with smiles, telling her to prepare her things, that is coming to take her to the city. All her friends envied her and wished to be like her, if only they knew what awaited Christabel. Few weeks later, Christabel was all prepared for the city. Her mother had given all the advice she could think of, but she had seen that Christabel was so eager and excited about leaving the village to the big city. She was so taken by the preparations that she was not so interested in all the advice her mother was dropping. Christabel's mother, who was born and brought up in the village, was forced to marry a chief of the village at the age of 16. She didn't have the privilege of a secondary school education, talk more of a university education. Now that her first daughter was stirred up to follow that path in the city, both fear and excitement filled her heart. She had no idea what the future held for Christabel, but she knew that she had raised a proper young girl who was determined to make her proud. She hung on to that thought and smiled as she watched Christabel packing up her bags. Christabel finally got to the city. Big buildings, shining lights, and people who dressed like she used to see in the movies. However, a few weeks into her stay in the city, Christabel realized that the city life was not a bed of roses. It first started with her uncle Bimi, whose character had changed just a week to her stay in his house. He gave her his rules, terms, and conditions that made it obvious that Christabel had to work for everything she needed. Uncle Bimi told her he could only help with her accommodation because he also had his own family to fend for, advising her to take on menial jobs just as her mates are doing. After 2 weeks, Christabel got a job as a housekeeper in a family home. She worked her bones out before she could raise money for her fees and other school requirements. She had promised her mother that she would find a way to cope, and she was determined to keep that promise. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share with friends.